Welcome to the OhioRAAM Show, number 288.
Well, hello once again. It's Lee Kreider here with the OhioRAAM Show, and we have a very interesting guest with us this morning. Well, it's morning here, it's afternoon there. Yasas Hewage. I hope I got that more or less right. If not, he just says call him Yasas from Sri Lanka. So we're going to go to Sri Lanka, but first I want to remind you of the show notes here, which will tell you more about Yasas and what he's doing there in Sri Lanka, and also some other things, interest of ultra cyclists. And again, just a word to say thank you to all the Ohioans here who run the Race Across America time station. No race this year, so we're not going to say too much about the stations. We'll be talking about them next year. With that, we're going to head right on over to the Pearl of the Indian Oceans in Sri Lanka. Yasas, how are you today, Yasas?
Well, very good, Lee. Very nice to see you, and greetings from Colombo, Sri Lanka. It's evening over here.
Evening there. And we did record you once before, back in October, I believe it was. And about that time, I wound up in the hospital. I was in and out most of November, December. And well, about the time I started to recover enough to do the show again, the pandemic hit and we had other agenda. So after reviewing it, I decided, let's just do it again because things have changed there, things have changed here. So we're here to talk about Yasas's cycling adventures in Sri Lanka. So tell me a little about your race. Tell me about your tour.
So yeah, those are two amazing events we've been able to put together, Lee, for Sri Lanka. So 2014, we started the event called Around the Pearl. A few of us thought of this mad idea to ride around the country on a bicycle, which was something no one has thought about at that time. And if you know a bit about Sri Lanka, Sri Lanka had a 30-year conflict, and most parts of the country was not accessible because there was a somewhat of a war. So 2014 was just the brink of the end of that unfortunate period, and we thought cycling is a great way to see the country, showcase the country. And this ride was about riding from the bottom of the country all the way around the coastal belt. So that became Around the Pearl. It's on its sixth year. Every April we do it. It's about 140K ride a day. Longest been about 200 kilometers in yardsticks. And it's not a race. It's a good one for a club rider, somebody who's in a little bit of a good level of fitness. Great way to see the country. So that's Around the Pearl. So we've been doing that, a lot of other events in Sri Lanka to promote cycling, because I'm a retired banker, and I retired because I wanted to enjoy my passion for cycling. Set up a cycling cafe in Colombo, this mechanical center. Of course, I'm also linked to Colorado because I also became a certified bike biomechanic advisor. So with Refuel USA. So I put all of that together and basically use this platform to promote more people to get off their couches and ride bicycles, families, and also the competitive side. So we did a fair bit of cycle races, duathlons, which led all the way to the first triathlon in Colombo, which was in 2018. That was a hit. We were sold out. We had over 700 from around the world, including a fair amount from USA. So I mean, all of that together, this idea of Race the Pearl was idea that, just as usual as cyclists, we get all these crazy ideas. So Sri Lanka, from the bottom of the country right to the top, through the middle of the island, is about 600 kilometers, and it connects two of the tips, and each of those are monumentally symbolized with a beautiful lighthouse. So we thought that's a great idea to ride to the bottom, to the top of the country. So that became Race the Pearl. So we tried it out as a trial in February last year and did a proper organized event in September. That's when we all connected and we got a bit of visibility from around the world. Fred was a bit interested, so we got in touch. So it became something people started noticing because it's it's just got all the characteristics to fit into the ultra endurance space and is perfect definition. You can see a bottom to the top of the island, and then it also is practical enough for somebody to do it over a day and then be back at work in a couple of days or fly down from maybe Singapore, India, unless somebody come from all the way. It's pretty sharp. So of course it also was recognized as a qualifier for RAM. Unfortunate, all of that has got a bit of a pause with all what we're going through. So right now we finally opened Spinner after this COVID challenge. Our staff are back at work, and we had to keep the cafe closed because the government is still not allowing food and beverage hangout areas to openly operate. But we have got a lot of demand on bicycles, and we also launched a pick and drop service for cycle repairs. A lot of people's bikes have been rusting around at home. So actually, we're very busy. That's a good place to be. And of course, thinking about when and how to start the event calendar. So just like every other event in the world, we are eagerly waiting. That's where we are, Lee, at the moment.
And so, when is the Race the Pearl?
So Race the Pearl, as scheduled, is in 2nd of October this year, 2020. We haven't played around with the dates, and we hope if things settle down, we should not have an issue because the nature of the race itself doesn't have to be a lot of crowds, and we can keep to the social distancing, and so yeah, so we are fairly optimistic about it.
And so, if somebody would like to qualify for RAM and have an interesting experience, sounds like that would be a great place to go. I know that I've talked to some people in other parts of the world whose eyes perked up when they said, "Oh, there's a race in Sri Lanka." So that's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
And for
That's a great opportunity.
those who don't want to race, who just want to see your wonderful country around the Pearl, when will that happen
That's
again?
right. So if because we are pretty hung on the fact that we had to postpone or cancel the event, we haven't officially canceled. So we might do a short run when market opens up, but actually the proper event happens every April. So it then should be 2021, first week of April 2021.
Okay, very well. Well, again, in the show notes below here, you will be able to see links to his website, Yasas website, and
Yeah.
then on there you'll find information on those things. Now, you have a charity, don't you, that you support in your rides? Tell us a little about that, what it is and
Yeah.
what it does.
Ab- So absolutely, that's something very close to our hearts. So when we got into the whole cycling promotion, getting more people to bike around, because that culture was not there in the city of Colombo. As you know, we're a developing country. Of course, Colombo is fairly cosmopolitan, but if you go out in the rurals, it's almost a different country. Of course, still out of Colombo, in the rural areas, people do bike to work. It's a fundamental mode of commute. But Colombo, obviously, with development, everybody is either on a motorcycle or a car. And so when we started promoting cycling, we that's how this whole thing started. And we came across this foundation which was looking to raise funds for 1,000 wheelchairs for kids with cerebral palsy. Most of us did not know about cerebral palsy at that time. And it happened to be such that one of the founding members, in fact, who initiated this around the Pearl, his daughter had cerebral palsy. But of course, because of their financial capability, she's been given the right treatment. Of course, she's now grown up and she's studying in Australia. She's working. So we thought, hey, why don't we connect this together? When we spin our wheels, we'll spin the wheels of a wheelchair for a child. So that 1,000 wheelchair dream became 10,000. And as at today, we've raised funds for over 2,800. We've donated over 2,400. So most of you are familiar with cerebral palsy. It's a motorable dysfunction. Most of those kids are pretty sharp in their mind. So there's an artist, there is a musician trapped inside them. But the parents, because of lack of knowledge, and they tend to basically marginalize these kids. So it's not only the wheelchair, we have partnerships of other foundations who support them with the therapeutic side of it, educating the parents. Our job is to raise funds for the wheelchairs, which approximately cost about $100 per wheelchair because it's a special wheelchair. And every rupee goes directly to the foundation. All that information you can find on wheelsforwheels.lk. And so our journey continues. Every time we spin wheels of our bicycles, we spin the wheels of a wheelchair. So everything we do has a direct link to supporting that. So that's would love to have your support and contribution towards that.
Very good. Well, Yasas, unfortunately, you were breaking up a little bit during that important section. So, just to
Yes.
reiterate, this is their foundation to support children with cerebral palsy. It looks like you have a complete kind of system to bring knowledge, support, information, as well as wheelchairs for children who need them. I think I've
Yes.
got that about right. But you can, again, in the show notes, we'll have a link there. Please go down there. And if you didn't quite grasp what Yasas was saying there because he was breaking up, well, you'll find out more about it there. And that's unfortunate. Sadly, Yasas, it's a early part of our recording. You had a beautiful picture and beautiful sound, but when you started to talk about your charity, it kind of started going south. So
Oh,
those things
sorry.
happen. The internet is overloaded these days, and this kind of
I
stuff
know.
is not that uncommon anymore. So, Yasas,
Yes.
someone can come to Sri Lanka. They can come to your cafe. Was it Spinner
Yep.
Life Cycle
It's called
Cafe?
Spinner.
Once you
Yes.
get open, we can have a cup of coffee there. We can talk about bicycles. I can get my bike fixed and I can go on a tour around the island, can I? The full package.
Absolutely. That's what it was all made for. dream
Sounds
dream
wonderful.
of a
Now,
cyclist. Yes.
yeah, sounds wonderful. What more can you want? Cup of coffee, a bike shop, a tour. From all I can gather, Sri Lanka must be a rather attractive place to cycle. Listen, here
Yeah.
in the United States, I'm hearing reports from bike shops that are just inundated with work. People
Yeah.
trying to dig out their bikes and get back on the road with what's going on. Are you experiencing that there?
I mean, not as big as what we are hearing around the world. I've heard some phenomenal stuff happening in France, in Germany, because they're also supporting it with policy, where government is trying to give tax breaks, etc. So we don't have that, but Spinner is busy because we have also launched a pick and drop service to repair your bicycles. So we are you're absolutely right, and we started selling a very simple commuter bicycle, very cheap for like it's like a bicycle with hard tires, which is patch free. So we got some good sales on that, and there's a big enthusiasm for bicycles. People are thinking about avoiding public transport. So I'm also promoting bike to work. So yeah, we've got good demand. Actually, we are really busy at the moment.
Well, that sounds good. One can hope that once we start to recover, that the
Yeah.
surge in cycling won't stop there. People will learn, hey, this is a pretty nice way to travel. What what's the climate like in Sri Lanka year round?
Because we are next to the Bengal Bay, once in a while we have a bit of monsoons, rain coming in. Our rains are pretty torrential, but generally it's a very warm country. So you got sun year round, and guaranteed you won't get snow. So your your outdoor lifestyle is always up and about. So, but if you look at the warmest period is April. Now, don't ask me why we ride around the country during that time, because it's a school holidays for kids, and so it's also the New Year period. It's a nice time to be out. One would say for somebody coming from I don't know, Colorado, example, or someplace a bit cold. How is Ohio? I don't know. Is it cold during? Is it
We
snowing cold?
we have our cold weather here.
Cool. So you should be ready to change your skin color if you come to Colombo. You'll get a good tan. Sri Lanka will give you sun for sure.
So
So
bring
yeah,
our sunscreen, right?
yeah. Bring your
Or
sunscreen and
look,
some
we can
arm
buy it there.
covers. Yeah. Yes, you could for sure.
Hey, hey, it's really, really nice to talk to you. Now that we got through that little episode, you have a beautiful picture and beautiful audio. I don't know, crazy things happen, but it's so
Yeah.
good to talk with you again. Thanks for coming on again, and
Pleasure.
we hope that things turn out well for you. Hey, folks, those of you who would like to adventure and try new parts of the world, I think this sounds like a dandy fine place to go. We hope that you see a lot of people from around the world showing up there to ride your rides. Thank you so much, Yasas.
Thank you, Lee. It was a great pleasure. And you, yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Take care.
This is Gregory Zuber, thanking you for watching and sharing.